nonprofit organization that is responsible, among other things, for getting the word out about Bradley Manning, but also for paying 100% of his legal fees. And I'm incredibly thankful because when we got started, we were just 15 people who didn't know each other. And today we have members all over the world, and we have raised over $1 million for his support. So thank you guys. As a queer woman, I felt a lot of kinship to Bradley. And I went and I saw him in his one of his pretrial hearings, and I saw David Coombs, his attorney, bring up Bradley Manning's roommate and put him on the stand. This guy got assigned to Brad because there were no other rooms left. Bradley was the last room available, and this guy got stuck with him. And while he was on the stand, David Coombs, Brad's attorney, said, "So did you and Brad really talk?" And he said, "Well, we did at first, but after a while we stopped talking." And he said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, I don't know." And he said, "Was it because he was gay? Did you tell Brad that you didn't want to talk to him anymore at all, except to maybe say turn off the lights because you believed him to be gay?" And he was like, "Okay, yeah, it's true. I didn't want to talk to him because he was gay." Brad never had anybody to sit with when he went to lunch. He just hung out with people on the internet because through the internet he was able to find a community of people who understood him, of people who actually understood what it was like to be struggling with his identity. And God knows I didn't go through the same things he went through, but growing up in high school in Virginia, man, I turned to the internet and looked for people who understood what I was doing. And I think a lot of people here also understand what it's like to struggle with your identity. So a lot of us who are active in queer outreach and advocacy, we've written a letter talking about some of the inaccuracies in Lisa Williams' speech and an open letter. And I wanted to read part of that letter. Dan Choi is one of the other signers, and I just heard from Susie Bright, and I'm very glad to say that she's going to be signing as well. She said, "There's a million things I could say at a time like this, but one thing that was very poignant to me is that being a Grand Marshal," because she was a Grand Marshal, "is not about a popularity contest. It's a historical recognition. Sure, there are always a few famous people and politicians, but most of the dozen or so marshals each year are just great people who've made a difference in all kinds of ways, usually controversial ways. So what if not everyone agrees with Bradley Manning's politics? Can you name anyone on a float who gets that kind of perfect agreement? No one. I'm a perfect example of someone who's not middle of the road, but was really touched to be honored by that title, and I knew it was based on something real. What Bradley did was something real, something we can all support." In our open letter, which we're going to be collecting signatures from a bunch of the different advocates out there, and then hopefully getting published, we correct some of the inaccuracies. Among them, a lot of people don't realize that Bradley Manning was a queer advocate. He was out there marching against Don't Ask, Don't Tell in the DC Pride Parade. He spoke to reporters about what it was like to be a soldier and why Don't Ask, Don't Tell had to be abolished. He attended fundraisers for Gavin Newsom and the Stonewall Democrats, and he discussed what it was like to face homophobia in the military. We LGBTQ activists fought hard for years to win the right to live free from the fear that we could be targeted with violence deemed acceptable to society at large, simply for being who we are. We members of this community would like to stand in solidarity with others around the world who still live in fear of violence and oppression, simply for being born into a particular group. There's a lot of things people can do to get involved with the Bradley Manning Support Network. I've got two big things that I'm asking people here specifically to do. One, march with us in the parade. He may not be the Grand Marshal for the whole parade, at least not yet, but by God, he's our Grand Marshal. We're going to march for him. And second of all, we're having a flash mob. It's going to be on June 1st, and it's going to coincide with the court-martial of Bradley Manning. Now, a lot of people are not, dance-oriented, and that's fine, but most of us are. So come out. It's an easy dance. We meet on Monday nights, and if anybody wants it, anybody with these flyers can give you info, and we can show you the dance, and then we're going to dance in protest of Bradley's incarceration. Please learn more by visiting bradleymanning.org. As always, We are the only thing standing between Bradley Manning's family having to mortgage their home to pay for his legal defense and him being able to get it all because the community reached out and support him. Let's show him that we support him. Sign up for our newsletter. Please follow us on Twitter, Facebook. Please consider a donation. It makes all the difference. Thank you, guys.